a question about being able to reason people out of their beliefs. This is stake music, and it seems like there were a few more questions on this point. Whether you can ever successfully reason someone out of their beliefs when they didn't get these beliefs by reason in the first place. This is something I actually run into a lot, where people imagine that no one ever changes their mind, that it's incredibly difficult to reason with people, and it is, and yet I see the evidence of people changing their minds all the time. I've received emails by the thousands of from people who were at one point fundamentalists. I mean, I've even received emails from fundamentalist ministers who have completely lost their faith, but who are still functioning as ministers because they can't figure out what else to do with their lives. I mean, it's kind of flabbergasting that anyone's in this situation. But multiple people like that actually have been interviewed by Dan Dennett now and some of his students. So you hear from people who have gone made the full tour from Bible thumping literacy to absolute certainty that they were wrong. What you don't tend to find, however, is people doing that in real time. You never really see the evidence of people changing their mind in response to counter evidence and counter argument in real time under pressure. People tend to want to change their minds in private, and I understand that because it's sort of embarrassing to admit that you were wrong, but people do change their minds, and they do it based on some kind of collision with evidence and rationality, or the evidence of other people's bad reasoning and self-deception. When you become sensitive to all the people around you living in an echo chamber of confirmation bias and shoddy reasoning and selective cherry picking of data, it's possible to wake up and see the untenability of that, and there obviously are millions of people who have. So reason is the tool. It's the tool in the toolkit to use. I think one missing piece, which I alluded to earlier on the question about spirituality, is if all you have is reason, if all you have is the talk of science and debunking of religious belief, and it's all framed in basically a denial of the character of people's experience or the legitimacy of their experience, then you have a problem, because people know they've had certain experiences. They have a admittedly fallacious set of beliefs about what those experiences mean or what they attest to, but they know they've had these experiences. And what atheists and secularists and scientists tend not to do well or at all is connect to the character of those experiences and give some alternate explanation for them, an explanation that is not entirely demeaning and deflationary and gives some warrant to the legitimacy of the experiences themselves. So an experience, for instance, like self-transcending love, experiencing love of a sort that makes no sense unless you have experienced it. So literally knowing that you could love a stranger, someone you have actually no relationship with, as your default setting. Now, people have had these experiences on MDMA, people have had these experiences in religious contexts, but there are people who have not had this experience, right? It's just a non sequitur when you talk about loving your neighbor as yourself, as Jesus is reported to have said. So if you're someone who has no idea what people are talking about in that area, and you have a lot of Christian talk about Christian love, and the only purpose toward which you can wield your reason is to say all of that is bullshit, well then it's a totally unpersuasive argument. You need more than that, and I think we can, as a community of reasonable people, marshal more than that in an effort to get people to think sanely about the nature of reality.